Hello and welcome. Happy Monday. And we had a little tiny pump over the weekend, but not much. Um, Come down to the 4 hour to see. I mean, I've left this track on because it's kind of what I believe. This red line is kind of what I think will happen. We've got a bit more upside. It may drop from here. It may drop from just up here. It's a bit of a mind game for me. And don't forget, ask questions if you want to on this one. If you're watching live, it's a bit of a mind game for me though, because what the powers that be are trying to do is get you all interested in Bitcoin again. I think this is the new rally, and we've got to get on this. And of course, all the bleating idiots like Moon Carl and I can't even bring myself to mention them, who are just trying to get you to trade any old way. You know, they've got affiliate links. They want to sell. They want to sell you brokers and so forth, and so they just want you to trade. And what they're doing is appealing to your sort of nervousness that you're going to miss out. You know, your FOMO. And they're saying, you know, this is worth buying, this is worth buying. Well, you know, I think it goes up a bit more, but if you're like me and you've been long for a while, and it's now up to kind of my average, and I'm still not excited, I don't want to sell it, I don't want to buy anymore. You know, I'm very happy. I've kind of DCA'd my way through this, and I'm sitting here and I'm expecting it to drop off again and to be even less bothered when it does, because actually this is a good sign that it's staging a rally. But I think, you know, what they're trying to do is get you to buy it, and it's all it's doing is popping slightly higher than the previous high each time, stopping people out, diving a bit to make people think, oh damn it, why did I get stopped out? Get short again, rally again above this line, for example, and then you get exactly the same behavior where it rallies through it, stops you out, drops down again, makes you think, oh, I should have kept the short. And then it's rallying and rallying, and I think it's going to do exactly the same at this high level. And the only question is whether it has a little break and drops down from the sort of 25-ish level, or whether everyone gets super excited and drives it up about 30, 32 before the rug pull happens. You know, and what they're trying to do is make each time it's rallied, it's disappointed. You know, here we have, you know, disappointment here. Disappointment here, and I don't expect this to be any different. You know, we're going to get disappointment again, and is it enough to erode away the confidence of everybody? You know, because that's what people are looking for. That's what they're looking for. They want you to think this is just not worth doing. And I don't think any of these episodes, or even this, has been enough. I mean, it's obviously dislodged some long-term holders with holding red bags. They've just said, sod this, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it anymore. But you know, for me, there are signs of accumulation here. Like this big spike here is the biggest, you know, for ever. And that tells me that while a lot of people sold, well, you've got the pros out there buying. So this volume here is very interesting to me. They finally got a lot of people to crap themselves and sell it to them, and they're pleased with that. And another high volume spike here, and that's again on a small downturn. I mean, if we grow that a bit, that's just the come off from here, and that, you know, that's, if you add up all this amount of volume here, now this sell here is deliberate, getting you to sell it to them. You know, everybody who bought up here thinking this is it, boom, same here, and now they're pushing it really hard in an effort to get you to believe that this is really the push. And so I actually don't think it's really the push, I'm going to say. Hi Adam, hi to you too. So for me, you know, it goes up a bit. You know, at the moment this looks like it's going to go up, but how far? You know, 23.5 to 25 is not very far. 5%. You know, this stuff can really do 10% a day, 15, 30% a day sometimes. So, you know, is it that exciting to me? Not really. Will it get exciting? Yeah, quite possibly. If it pushes higher, you're going to get some action up here. And at this point, that's when I'm interested. And I say to myself, you know, this is, you know, I'm going to probably turn pretty flipping bearish at this point. You know, so would I sell it here if I was long? No, I am long, and I'm probably, will I lighten up some of my more expensive ones here because I expect it to drop? You know, in my head, I'm thinking about that. I'm saying, you know, I did buy some at 31 on the way down, some more at 28, you know, and loads more at 20, you know, 26, 22, you know, so I am kind of on average here, slightly in the blue, and I would say, I don't know, I'd be tempted to offload some of the more expensive ones, knowing it's going to drop and I can buy them again cheaper. So that is kind of how I feel. For better or for worse, don't forget I only trade cash, so it means I can sit down once it goes through 15,000 and not care, because I know long term, you know, this is for me a 3 to 5 year thing where I expect to sell them all north of 70. You know, it's just going to take a long time, and I don't think we're through the process. And if we dipped down below 15 again, I'd just not be surprised at all. I almost would predict it, you know, because you've got to get these last hangers on super excited, getting them buying some more, saying this is it, and everybody's saying Bitcoin's back on the map. And I don't think that happens at 25. I think it happens at 32. So there you go. That's what I think. Adam says, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for that. Well, it's not that early for me. I've been up for a while wondering whether to stream or not, and then I suddenly remembered I do have this ebook. So if you look in my signature, or if you look in the description on YouTube, if you're on YouTube, please buy my ebook. It's free. It's free till tomorrow, so you've got a couple of days. And just please leave a review. Reviews take some time to come through. It's got like 6 or 7, but I've, you know, about nearly 200 people have taken this book, and they're all 100% about it. It's a short read, 30 to 40 minutes, train journey, and it just helps you survive. I mean, I'm plugging it a bit here, but it's for you. You know, I don't expect to make any money out of this. I make much more money out of trading and of educating people than I will out of this ebook. Okay, so it's a book out there that helps you survive. What it means is, what it tries to tell you is that 90% of people lose 90% of their money in the first 90 days. I don't want you to be part of that. I want you to be part of the 10%. It's not actually that hard to stay part of the 10%. You just have to have discipline, and the book outlines some rules, which if you follow them, you'll still be there after 3 months, still learning and still with the potential to become a trader. If you don't follow them, the chances are extremely high that you'll just have to give up, because you'll have spunked a load of money, and you'll just think, well, that was dumb, I'm not doing that again. Well, if you want to stay in the game, do that. Oripasti, hi Paul, you're seeing a potential distribution falling in AU now making the sign of weakness or the 1 hour chart. Okay, well, we saw a perfect one. I'll get to AU in a sec. Just let me finish talking about the book. If you do get it for nothing, have the decency to write a review if you can. Some people can't. Someone wrote to me today and said you have to spend $50 on your Amazon account before you can write a review. But I guess most people have an Amazon account they bought more than $50 worth on. So please just write a review. If you think it's crap, I don't care. Write a review. You know, I'm not looking for 100% reviews, though. Obviously, that would be good. And I think it's a super book. I think it's really going to help people. So I'd like you to review it. Yeah, I'll pass it. I'll get to AU in a sec. In fact, almost now, because I think I'm done on this. For those of you that haven't watched before, I'll just quickly go through where we are in terms of we need to get quite so long. Let's get the I'll just draw it on again. So we think that even though we've broken the Elliott wave, the official monthly Elliott wave, so if we take, here's your Elliott wave, the monthly, yeah, and this 4 will definitely have broken this 1. We still take the bias from it, and what we are seeing here, in our opinion, is Wyckoff accumulation, and so therefore we think this is a monthly 4. We're not certain the 4 is in, because don't forget it can just dip down and have a little spring before going higher. So you know, we're around the 4. We are seeing distribution accumulation characteristics, and so we do expect this, even though the Elliott wave is officially broken. We're not fundamentalist Elliottians, and as a result we're still happy to take the bias given the natural pattern of things. And so that's where we are, for those of you who don't know it before. Right, so any questions on the Bitcoin strategy I've just put together? Don't forget, don't do this on margin. Trading Bitcoin on margin is one of the dumbest things anyone can do. Okay, because it's so prone to evil wicks up and down, and you just get stopped out and regret it. I mean, it's just not worth doing. Do it in cash, go slowly, and you should be okay. And here, you know, I wouldn't recommend. You know, I think you get another chance to buy it if you haven't yet, lower than this. And additionally, you know, would I sell it here? Would I go short here? No, I don't think so, because this is the area where I'm interested in being long. So anywhere kind of south of here was where we said, right, it's okay to get stuck in here. So all in this area is what I call the value area, and this is where and you'll probably notice the amount of negative news, specifically time-wise, up until about now. It's been negative news on Bitcoin. 100% negative the entire time, and that is indicative of an accumulation where the news is super negative. Everybody loses heart. You know, their wives or husbands turn to them and say, why have we got this? You know, we've lost 60% of what we put into this. Come on, let's just keep the rest and move on with our lives. And that just happens more and more through this period until everyone gives up, at which point obviously it rallies, because that is the nature of markets. And you know, Bitcoin is now an institutionalized market and is behaving like all the other ones. Right, let's switch. Let's have a little bit of look at Aussie. So yeah, I mean, there's a load of annotations on here that I use for my personal trading. I do trade Aussie quite a lot of the time. So let's move to Aussie now, and what we're seeing is, you know, it is very likely a 0 to 1 move, and we are in the 4-5 of it, and we're trying to, we haven't really, I'm not sure that this is the 4. Let's just get rid of that, it's getting in the way. There we go. So we don't know if this is the 4 yet. It might well be. In the intro, this is inside let's put another one on here. That's probably already in here somewhere. Right, so this is the one we've got in our minds, and we're clearly higher than this now, but I don't think 5 is in, obviously. So 5 probably comes in this area up here above 71, around about 1. So this band goes from 71.60 up to 72.60, and it's a wide band, it's 100 pip wide, but you know, that is kind of the area we're expecting 5 to be, and then we would expect a decline. And if you want to know where we think you should buy this, because we actually do think you should buy this on the decline, then you have to take a subscription. Sorry, you know, but we're relatively cheap given the amount you can lose without us. That's all I'll say. Read the book and you'll understand why it's worth taking a subscription, because actually you will lose a lot of money if you don't read the book. That is fact. Well, actually, that's not true. 90% of you will lose an average of $4,500 if you don't read the book. Okay, simple. Roberto Soso, how are you? Good morning, dear Paul. Good morning to you. So that's where we think we are in AU. Are there any other requests? I only really came on to talk about Bitcoin because it's edging up again, but I mean, I'm happy to look at other things if someone comes back. I know there's a slight delay, so I'll babble for 30 seconds about, you know, what I do at the weekend. I don't know, mainly froze, but it's getting warmer here now in the UK, so hopefully it stays that way. But obviously there's going to be gales and rain. Fabulous. I do want to get out and go for a walk, which I have time to do. That's another thing I talk about in the book. You know, I'm not staring at the screen the entire time. You know, I look at the screen in the morning, and again, you know, I have alerts set on my trading view so that if prices get to areas where I'm interested and want to have a look at it, that's what I do. And that's kind of how to trade stuff. You don't want to be staring at it looking for tiny little opportunities left, right and center, and the book will explain that to you very well. Do I have a count on the S&P 500? Well, okay, so the big problem with indexes is that because they just go up over time, counts are less useful than they are in other things. Very happy to look at it. I don't have a count, but I am looking at two. You can see there are two different possible Wyckoff situations. So down here we had potential seller's climax with a nice sharp AR secondary thrust and then a much higher high. But since then we've had this and an even deeper one. So either this is some kind of STB, but whatever, either that or it's a new SC. But what we cannot say is that this is over. You know, you really are going to have to wait and see what happens next and let the price be your guide. In terms of, you know, if we even look at a monthly, admittedly the S&P in this one only goes back to 2011, but you can see how hard that is to really call as any kind of Elliott wave. You know, so Elliott wave on individual stocks, I don't mind because they come in and out of the index. But don't forget, the stocks that don't perform and collapse come out of an index, which means the index tends to go up, which is why index tracker funds are so popular, because it just shows regular increases, you know, over time. You know, when I first started in 1987, during the sort of Black Friday, you can't even see that. I mean, the S&P lost, I can't remember if it's 40% or something like that in a day and a half, and you can't even see that on the chart anymore. And so these things don't really lend themselves to Elliott wave theory. You can put them on a log scale, which I hate doing, and try and, you know, but I wouldn't rely on it, put it that way. I don't necessarily think that it works as a thing, Elliott wave on stocks. I think you can look, and this has gone on for quite some time now, weekly, and try and look for some kind of Wyckoff pattern. And at the moment, I don't know which one of these it is, and I'll have to wait till it plays out to see. You don't. The only way you can really see volume is by using the E-mini. So where's volume? It's not switched on. Here we go. So if we look at this on a weekly, do get encouraging signs like this one here. I like this volume, big volume as it falls, because that means that people are out there catching it. I particularly like candles like this. Is weekly candle, don't forget, so you get the broadest possible view. You got here, let's do the vertical line. So there is, and what do we get at that candle? Almost no movement, very high volume. That means there's a load of people with their hands out catching all the index futures they could at that level. So that felt good to me. That feels like, you know, another sign of accumulation. There's the pandemic there, obviously much higher volume, and I wouldn't call that accumulation. See, the trouble is it's a question of where you look for accumulation. Personally, I look for accumulation where I'm expecting to see it. And am I expecting to see it here? Well, a bit, but if you look across here, this is the real area where I'm expecting to see it. So am I that keen on accumulation strategies that are above 3,400? Well, yes and no. Maybe I look at them more short term, but it wouldn't surprise me in the least to see 3,400 out of this, you know, because that is the obvious place, and then I'll be really looking hard at accumulation. I just comment, Paul, could you share any of your morning routine? What do you do to prepare yourself for a fresh look and making good decisions on the market? Well, I literally only, okay, so here's my recommendation. I wouldn't be following lots of things. You need to learn about the character of whatever it is you're following. You know, I don't trade Bitcoin day to day. I invest in Bitcoin. Okay, so I buy it not on margin, but with cash, and I've set aside some of my money to invest in crypto, specifically Bitcoin and XRP, and that's it. Okay, and so what I do is that, you know, I barely look at those except to update people like you guys who are interested in short-term stuff. At which point I will look at it and I'll say to myself, well, where's this going to turn? In terms of everything else, I've got my eye on certain levels in AU, which is the other principal thing I trade. In fact, it's the main thing I trade. I trade mostly AU, Aussie US, in case anyone's wondering. And as a result, when I look at it, I know what I want to do. And right now, I'm not interested. I've got, you know, I know that once it gets up into this area, I'm interested in looking for distribution. Here, I'm not that bothered. You know, it's tempting. There's a couple of things here that, you know, if everything wasn't so, if I wasn't so convinced that we are about to fall, you know, this is actually quite a good line here to buy at 70.63. But you know, I've got my selling head on, and so the great thing is I can look at this, realise that my selling head will not let me buy it here, and I can literally say, right, I don't care until here, set an alert. In fact, I'm surprised I don't have one. When it hits that, my phone will tell me, and I can come up here and look at it and have a considered decision, you know, whether to sell it immediately, which I very much doubt I would, or to come up with a strategy that says I'll sell it in a bit if I see distribution, you know, any kind of Wyckoff distribution, or if it perhaps if it gets deep into this level and then drops like a stone, I'll probably try to jump on the stone as it comes down, and that is it, you know. And then I'll go off and do other stuff. I've got stuff to do around the house today. I'm happy enough, you know. I'll go to do the shopping. I'll go to the golf range. You know, trading shouldn't be about staring at the screen all the time. And in fact, you know, as I talk about in the ebook, it's a dumb idea to do that anyway, because you don't get to live your life, and there's no real advantage to sitting there staring at it trying to take day trading positions, because it's much harder to be a day trader. It's much easier to be a swing trader, and as a result, that's what I do. So there's your answer. Right, I think that's probably everything. Everyone's had their chance to put their tuppence in. Please do buy for nothing, because it's free, the ebook that's in my signature, and please review it, because what I want is a load of positive reviews, at which point I'm not going to make a pot of money out of it. It's sold, full price is $2.99, for God's sake. I'm not going to make money out of selling that. You know, sell 100 of those, whoopee. That's not what I'm trying to make money out of. What I'm trying to get people into the idea of is that you can make a living trading, but you have to learn. And if you've done if you've done the lot in 3 months, you're not going to learn anything apart from how to panic and how to feel stupid. So have a look. There are some rules in that book that will keep you alive, and if you stay alive long enough, you can learn a great deal. So there you go. Let's leave it. What's my look for DXY? Up, Adams Zoe. Let's look at DXY quickly. That's probably a good question. So what am I looking at? Let's look at weekly. So around this level, and we are getting what we call a shortening of the thrust. We're getting this kind of look here, just where you'd expect it. So you'd expect this area to see some kind of reversal, and we did. And then you'd expect, as it reaches the lower end of this, you would expect to see some more, and we are now starting to get some kind of consolidation there, where it's hanging around here waiting for the next move. We at Mayfair think the next move is up, and that kind of goes with our next move in Aussie USD, which we think is down. And so, you know, this is almost like the 0-1. So if we go 0 here and 1, and then we're expecting some kind of move like this, and then the dollar collapses. Now, we don't know what causes this, and it can last a while around here, but while there's still a war in Ukraine, you can still get some terrible news, and terrible news will make the DXY rally. Now, in some ways, we're almost waiting and wondering what that terrible news is. It's not like we don't think it's going to happen. We think there will be some news forces the dollar higher. Now, we could be wrong. You know, we are not magicians. However, that does seem to be us the next move. One other thing we can do on this, and DXY, we can put on my favorite indicator. Okay, so we've got a volume spike here. We had one at this level, and we got a shortening. And so, yeah, this is an area where we think, you know, a turnaround is due. And, you know, everyone got all excited, dollar zoomed up, oil prices zoomed up, and they all react. And there's always a pullback, and I think this goes up again. I don't think it goes higher than it previously did. It might do. My partner Lewis thinks it can easily go higher than 114. So, you know, I'm not going to discount it. Adam Zoe asks, do you think the low on the previous swing will hold from the monthly chart? Or as in this one, I think you mean. I don't know. And DXY is a kind of weird animal. You might as well, you know, you can almost just trade Euro USD. The only trouble is with the war in Europe, it changes, and DXY and Euro USD are very different animals. On a normal circs, you know, you can use Euro USD as a proxy. Do I think that? I don't know. Yeah, I'm tempted to say if it doesn't hold, it only breaks through for a bit before rallying. So yeah, that's where I am. Okay, I think that's probably enough. I have no idea how long I've been on, but thank you very much for watching. Buy the free ebook. You don't have to pay anything. Get in there, have a look at it, it will definitely save you money if you're a new trader, and even if you're not particularly new but you're struggling a bit. Some of the things in there will really open your eyes. So get hold of it, have a look. Adios till the next time.